I am going to show you guys my report. So I am going to show you my Matric report. Now that you guys have seen what I achieved, you know you can trust what I'm about to tell you, right? So tip number 1 is... Hey. Hi my lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. So now I'm just going to be going into the physical actual study tips and things that you guys can actually do in order to achieve the marks you want to achieve. So I want to start by saying this. I'm assuming that by the time I release this video, it will probably be prelims, because I'm honestly filming it while I know some of my friends that are in Matric are busy writing prelims now. So if you get a bad mark on prelims, it's not the end of the world. It really isn't the end of the world, guys. And you know, I think it's very different. Prelims and finals are very different things, which makes sense because obviously they are conducted by two different academic, boards. One is conducted by the National Academic Board, and then the other is conducted by a school. So it's obviously going to be different. So it's okay if you get a bad mark in prelims. Just know that yes, some of those prelims marks do count towards your portfolio, so you can't forget about them completely. But if you do get a bad mark, it's okay because you can pick yourself up. So I want to say it's important to work hard consistently, because if I'm being honest, your portfolio can save you. But another disclaimer is that even though your portfolio can save you, if your portfolio is not up to par, it is still not the end of the world. So for me, my portfolio in Matric was basically what I used as a compass to identify whether or not I would get a distinction in the end, or where I had to work harder. So an example of this would be, I think I got a distinction for all of my portfolios except for accounting. Yeah, except for accounting. In fact, I think I got something like 79 for my accounting portfolio, which would it made me so mad. So work hard on your portfolios. That will also give you confidence, I guess. But if you don't have a good portfolio mark, it's okay. So now we're getting into the second part of the video, which is basically physical, like actual tips and things that you can do in order to improve your marks and to basically just get distinctions. So I just want to put a young disclaimer out there. So I did do the IEB examination system. Even though the tips that I'm putting in are quite general and they can basically apply to anyone, I did do the IEB system. So that's a young disclaimer. And then I'm just going to start by telling you guys what exactly I did in terms of the subjects I took. So I did accounting, I did Afrikaans as my language, English, IT, Allo, as everyone has to do, and then I did pure maths and physics, and then I also took an 8th subject, which was AP maths. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you guys my report. So I am going to show you my Matric report, and this is before the final IEB marks were out, right? So this is basically what my portfolio was looking like and my term marks were looking like. So here you go, guys. Let's see my report. So this is basically my report. I know it's doing that thing where it flashes, but hopefully you guys don't mind. So these are my subjects that I did, that I mentioned, and these are the marks that I was getting. So as you can see, I was generally getting good marks. Look at my term averages. So this was my exam average, and I think that was during prelims, or was that June? That was June exams. My June exam average was 78, but as you can see, my term averages were generally pretty high, like all 80s, and I was getting 70s, a few 70s. And here, AP maths, that's the one subject I didn't get a distinction in, and as you guys can see, it's not a surprise. So these are my final Matric results. This is a certified copy, and yeah, there you can just basically see what results I achieved and for what subjects I achieved them. And obviously my AP maths certificate came separately. I think I got something like, I don't know, I didn't even get a 70 for AP maths. I think I got a 67, so yeah. Okay, so basically now that you guys have seen what I achieved. You know you can trust what I'm about to tell you, right? So they're not high distinctions, but listen, I'm not complaining. So tip number 1 is be organized. So these are a few files that I found from when I was back in school. Sorry, something just fell, but anyways, these are files that I had when I was back in school. So this file is for maths only, and this was my old physics file, and this was from grade, I think 10 and 11. So when I say be organized, what I mean is organize your notes. You see, I have a few of these sticky things that tell me which section I should be looking for. So I'm just going to show you guys what's in it. So this is basically just my matric work and my notes, electrostatics. I don't know if you guys can see that. So yeah, these are basically my notes. This was actually my workbook. So this is where I did my work in class. I just had a file because you were doing so much work. So yeah, this is basically my physics book. I really don't have a lot of examples to show you guys on notes because I had a specific way of organizing my notes, but I'll tell you guys more about that later. These are my current varsity notes. These are for maths. So yeah, as you guys can see, this is how I write my notes, and I use some colors. This is a big thing summary. Yeah, I use some colors, and so I don't really think I need to really explain why being organized is important for you guys. But I mean, let me just say a few things. Being organized helps you have order in your life. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're very all over the place, your marks will show that you are all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be grounded, be focused, and be organized. Like, there's no better way. Good notes don't necessarily bring good marks, but they can help. You know what I'm saying? So the way I organized my notes in Matric was I would write my notes on white paper, much like these varsity notes that I showed you guys just now that are on my wall. And then I would put them in a plastic sleeve. So every subject had a different plastic sleeve. And then I'd keep those notes in like a box. So that's how I organized them. And that system worked so well for me. So I don't know if you guys can understand what I'm saying, but like, yeah, write your notes, group them together, put them in the order in which you learned them, you know what I'm saying, and then put them in a plastic sleeve and then keep them all together. So that's how I organized my notes. So the second tip is going to be to study with friends. So if you're like me, guys, then you're someone who likes to study alone. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes an environment that's too friendly can kind of become chaotic and distracting. But if you're in Matric and you have common subjects with your friends, things like English, everyone has to take English. So you can study with your friends. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on that group study thing, especially with English. Abo Kubla Khan, abo the same. You guys can be achieving together. And it really helps with things like poems because you can kind of feed off of each other's ideas. They can give you guys ideas and you can give them ideas, inspire each other. Do you know what I'm saying? So work with your friends, and a good way to do this is if you guys have like a whiteboard, then you can work together and write things on a whiteboard or a chalkboard or something like that. Or you can just all sit at a table together with your notes, going through poems together, you know, and discussing your critical notes and things like that. So this system worked well for me, specifically with English. That's the thing that I remember just hitting me like hard, is that if I didn't work with my friends, I don't know what would have happened, because they really just gave me so many ideas and, you know, helped me better my writing and basically improve my arguments for English. But if you guys are doing completely different things, don't work together. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, poems, guys. Hey, do those poems. Read those poems. Read them. Yo. So the third tip that I have for you guys is to ask for help. Ask for help. By the end of my Matric year, I had probably taken an extra lesson for 4 out of the 8, half of the subjects I was doing, basically. So I took extra lessons for Afrikaans because honestly, when I took Afrikaans, I didn't know what was going on. So I took extra lessons for Afrikaans from grade 8 to 10, but then I moved provinces, so my Afrikaans tutor was no longer available basically. So I stopped taking Afrikaans lessons in grade 10, but by then my knowledge was good enough so that I could get a distinction at the end of the day. Do you know what I'm saying? And I also had a tutor for physics. So if you're like me, then you struggle with physics, which is so ironic because guess who's doing a freaking science degree now? But anyways, I really struggled with physics. I was really not achieving, guys. My tutors knew, my teachers could see that, hey, you know, this one, sometimes, like, I'm telling you guys, I really wasn't achieving. My teacher was literally like, hey, I wonder, please tell me what you're doing differently, because we can see your marks are the biggest switch up ever. Like, they went from here to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so even my teachers could see that, hey, you know what, keep doing what you're doing because you're achieving. So that's just another core example, guys. As much as I achieved 7 distinctions at the end of the day, I really went from the bottom to the top. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially in something like physics. I'll be honest with you guys, I've failed tests, many tests in physics. I got less than 50%, and I know a lot of people can relate to this because physics is hard. Honestly, it really is. So I failed, and look, at the end of the day, I got 85%. You know what I'm saying? It's not just 80%, it was 85, which is such a good mark, such a good mark. So I asked for help. I knew I had to take those physics lessons, and they helped me. They really helped me, guys. Ask for help. Take whatever lessons you can with your teachers, or if you can't afford to, go for extra lessons from someone outside. Ask your teachers for help, ask your friends for help. Just ask for help, and you shall, receive. Most of the time, people are willing to help. So yeah, they won't help you though if you don't ask. So the fourth tip that I have for you guys is to continue studying after prelims. So this might seem like something that's like very small, or it might even feel like a given, but trust me, it's not, because I stopped studying after prelims, and I really did feel the pressure when it came time to study for finals, because I was very behind. Not that I was behind, but I just felt like I started much later than I should have. I started studying for finals a week before the actual finals started, right? So I just felt like in terms of my organization during that time, it wasn't really good at all. So a tip for you guys, which is something that I wish I did, is to continue studying after prelims. You've already studied for prelims, and to top up that knowledge during that period between prelims and finals is very essential, because it really does take the load off in the end. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, school does get a bit hectic in between, because I went to a 3-term school. I don't know how many people experienced this, but we did have to cover content within that period between prelims and finals. So just topping up on your knowledge periodically just helps take the load off in the end, because you can forget a lot within the span of a few days, in fact. So just continue studying. So now I'm going to move into a more subject specific kind of tip section, right? So if you are doing IEB, right, a very important thing for you to do is to go to that IEB website and look up all of the SAGs for every single subject you are doing. So the SAGs is basically a subject assessment guidelines document, right? So it's the national or IEB examination board document, which basically outlines the scope of all of the subjects that you're taking, and basically what they're gonna examine, right? So it outlines what they should have taught you, your teachers in school, by a certain time, which is Matric. And then it outlines basically the things that you need to know. Go through that document, use it as a checklist even. I'm pretty sure there's a list at the beginning of the SAGs also that says each of the topics that are covered in each subject. Go through that and use that as a checklist. This is such an undervalued resource, I think, because not many people do it. And that's where you are wrong. I'm sorry, that is where you are wrong. By not going through the SAGs, you let yourself down. Guys, literally, it's basically a list set out by the people who are going to make the exam for you, that tell you everything that you need to know. obviously that's the best source to get the information on, you know, how to study for the exam. It's from the people who are studying the exam. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is so important. Go through the SAGs. So that is tip number 5 for IEB students specifically. So another thing about the SAGs is you have to print them out, especially for physics. So this is more subject specific. For physics, maybe bio, I don't know, because I didn't take biology. You have to print out the SAGs and you have to, guess what, learn those definitions off by heart. I wish I could give you guys a shortcut for this, but you have to just know those definitions off by heart. Abo, what is a vector? I forgot the definition. Yeah, but basically, you have to know by definition that a vector is a physical property that describes magnitude and direction. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to know those definitions off by heart, word for word. Those will help you. Those will really help you. They really will, because they do tend to kind of put sections in the exams where you have to define words. So know those off by heart. I'm telling you, know them. Start studying them now, in fact. Start if you're doing physics. So now moving on to the 6th and final tip, probably, because this video is getting quite long. If you guys want me to do a part 2, let me know in the comment section and I will definitely do that for you guys. But anyways, the 6th and final tip I have for you guys is to do past papers. So this is a habit which you should carry on into your entire academic career. Practice makes perfect, as I said before. As cliche as it is, it's the muff truth, okay? You have to do your past papers. This helps so much. First of all, it helps you kind of get the examination style, the style of the questions, the kind of format of the papers. Obviously, you shouldn't rely on this too much, because I remember when we wrote our mathematics papers, we were doing past papers, and then the exam that we got was a completely different format from like 5 years before. I don't know why they decided to change it in our year, but yeah, we were kind of thrown off track for that. So don't rely too much on the format, but it does help to know. You know what I'm saying? Don't rely too much, but know it. And yeah, that's not the only thing that past papers help for. They help you to identify hard questions or the type of level of questions that are going to be asked. And I think past papers help more specifically with the higher level questions, or for questions that are for more marks. Do you know what I'm saying? So that you can kind of see the process that you need to go through in your head to answer those questions. The past papers are the best for practical subjects, I think, like accounting, maths. Your maths, I cannot stress the value of doing past papers for maths. And IT, guys, do past papers for IT. Code those programs, code them. And for English as well, for longer type questions and just to practice essay writing is very important. People kind of sleep on the idea of practicing essay writing, but oh my word, guys, if you know your format of your essays, the intro, you know what you want to say here in the body, you know what you want to say here in the second body paragraph, you know what you want to say at the conclusion, and you know how you're going to finish off. Hey, do that thing, girl. Write those essays, okay? Write those essays. Know your formats of your essays, know your key points, and know how to expand on them in detail. Oh my word, do everything in detail. I can't stress this enough. So do past papers, do everything in detail, especially for English. You have to be able to say who the heroine's mother in Americana is. You have to be able to say why she moved to America, who her love interest is, what their baggage is. I don't really know too much about Americana because I actually did I did Washington Square. I know, guys. I know we were supposed to move a step forward in terms of inclusivity in the English language and in schools, but here I am taking 1,000 steps backwards by reading the patriarchal, oppressive Washington Square. So what can I say? It was easier. It really was easier. In terms of the arguments, I think it was a bit more complex, but it was a lot shorter to read. I read the whole book. So yeah, do your past papers. Read your literature works. to the end. Read them from start to finish. Write those essays. Do those practice questions. So for IEP students, let me just show you guys an example. So this book actually does have a lot of past papers in it. So I'm going to use this file as a kind of example for you guys. This is just my anti-matric maths, which is basically grade 11. My matric maths book. So here we are. Let me show you guys. Basically an example of all the past papers I had to do. And this is in grade 11 alone. So look at these, guys. These are all the past papers I had to do. And they are my marks. These are the marks I was getting in Matric. I think this is AP Maths. So these are my papers. But the important thing that I actually wanted to show you guys is these past papers. So in Matric, I had a box full of these past papers. Literally a hand-me-down box that I got from my brother, full of thousands of past papers from the IEB. So you don't have to necessarily print them out. They are easily accessible on the IEB website. So if you're doing the IEB system, you can just search for the subjects that you're doing, and you can find past papers from as far back as 2013, honestly, and further than that, from 2008. Though I wouldn't recommend doing past papers from too far back, as they tend to be outdated and the format just really isn't the same, so it doesn't really add much value to your studying unless you really want to, you know, kind of see different kind of questions. But that's overkill. But I do think that is overkill. So yeah, these guys, I have so many of these that I used to do. So I also have these NSC ones, which also were very valuable as well. They do help for practice. And here are some more IEB papers. And I think my maths teacher even gave me these. So you can see the teachers even stress the importance of doing these past papers. And you can also find the memos on the IEB website as well. So I know I said that tip number 6 was going to be the final tip, but I just realized that within tip number 6, I have so much to say. So do your past papers. IEB kids, you can get them on the IEB website. I think you can get the CAPS, or I think those are the National Senior Certificate papers for the CAPS system. I think you can also get those online. So do your past papers, okay? Very important. Tip number 7, which comes with doing your past papers, is going to be go over your mistakes. This is so important. If you do not go over your mistakes and rectify them, you're sure to make those mistakes again. So this is very important, especially within that transition from prelims to finals. When you get your prelim papers back, go over those mistakes, because those literally, prelims are kind of made to kind of like pull out your weaknesses. So it's so important to go over those prelims, take a note of what you did wrong, and do those questions again, do you know what I'm saying, until you get them right. Ask your teachers for help also. If you need any more help, they can provide some invaluable kind of clarity on the issues you might be having. So that's tip number 7, is go over your mistakes. Okay, so now tip number 8 is very specific for English, and that is read everything. Read everything. Okay, read everything. So what I mean by this is read your set works. Read Americana from page 1 to page, do you know what I'm saying? Read Washington Square from page 1 to page. Read Romeo and Juliet from page to page. Do you know what I'm saying? Read it from start to finish. Read the poems from start to finish. This is something a lot of people don't do. And honestly, there are ways to work around the system. You don't really have to read them from start to finish if you can get summaries online. Do you know what I'm saying? I also use summaries online. That's another tip. Use summaries online. Those are very valuable. But anyways, if you can't get those summaries online, you have to read them from start to finish. And while you're reading them, start to gauge in your mind the key themes and start to like kind of think of arguments you can make in key themes. This also applies to drama students. If you're doing drama, read your set plays from start to finish. I think you have to. I don't know. Some of them you might not have to read from start to finish. Like you might only read a few pages in class, something like that. Like a streetcar named Desire, you might only have to read a few pages because it is a very long, you know, set work, I guess. So make sure you read that thing. Do it for yourself. You know, teachers don't make you read these things to punish you. They make you read them because guess what? You need that knowledge to achieve at the end of the day. They're not forcing you to do anything. It's really up to you, honestly. So just read everything, know yourself, be woke, okay? And you can even make reading a kind of mental game for yourself if you enjoy it. Let's say you see something that you think might be of importance, or even something that you think might not be of as much importance. You can kind of relate it to topics of importance. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm really making sense, but you can kind of start gauging arguments around what's being said in the set works, so that you can kind of like write many essays already in your head and see what you can say about small things. And on top of read everything, right? Another tip that I have for you guys, especially for English, is to memorize quotes. Memorize quotes of importance. Memorize quotes of importance. Memorize your quotes that kind of have a link to a topic which you know is important. So in order to know which topics are important, you have to listen in class. That's another tip. That's tip number 10 now. Listen in class, because your teachers are the most indisposable resource that you have. Exploit that resource, guys. Like, make use of your teachers. Pick at their brains, because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, they are the best shot you have at achieving, because they've taught you everything that you know, and they continue to teach you and guide you through the examination period. Do you know what I'm saying? They should be your first and last stop when it comes to studying and getting knowledge for your exams. Oh my word, speak to your teachers, okay? How many times do I have to say it? Just speak to your teachers. In the moment, something that your teachers say might seem insignificant, but you never know. Just take notes all the time, listen to what they say, and you know, they could come in handy. And most of the time, little things your teachers say do come in handy. So that was my 10th and final tip for you guys. If you guys want more tips on basically how to have good exam habits, so not in terms of studying, but more exam writing tips, then I can do that. I can even do subject specific tips for you guys, because I actually did enjoy making this video. Like, it was okay, you know what I'm saying? I like educating you guys. So if you guys want to see videos that are subject specific, like how to write English essays, or how to be calm in an exam, or you know, stuff like that, then just let me know in the comments below, and I will be sure to I'll be sure to make that video for you guys. So if you guys like this video, then please be sure to like, comment, and yeah, I wish you guys all the best for your prelims and your finals. Hopefully what I've said today can kind of help you guys achieve what you want to achieve at the end of Matric. So yeah, love and light, guys, until the next video.